Welcome to Fuel Your Drive.
Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Fuel Your Drive. I'm your host, Josh York. We have another amazing episode in store for you today. Before we get started, as you know, little housekeeping. Please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Let's keep growing the show. All right, let's get rocking and rolling and get right into it. It's going to be a quick one today, guys. All right, so I thought this would be a great episode to touch on here. 18 years in building a business, and what is the number one thing I've learned that it's taught me? And it's taught me all about failure and how important it is. Everyone looks at failure the wrong way. Everyone looks at failure the wrong way. Failure is the curriculum. You don't learn in the wins, you learn when you're losing. You learn when you're having those losses. You learn when you're going through all the challenges, right? And I got to tell you, early gym guys' mistakes is really what shaped everything and how we've continued to grow. So, what would have happened if I have quit, right? At year 2, year 5, year 10. There is no quitting. As we say, you never, ever, ever quit. You stay in it, you figure it out, you make it work. Were there days that I thought I was going to quit? Absolutely not, because I don't think like that. A lot of people do think like that, and you need to stop that right now. But, look, behind the scenes of building a brand, the hires that didn't work, the markets that flopped, the ideas that got crashed and bombed, the difference between a setback and a signal, okay? You got to understand, like, all these things that have happened over the years have really opened up my eyes, our team's eyes, and really been able to allow us to keep moving forward and getting better and better. And we continue to get better and better. And you know how we know that? Because numbers don't lie. The data will always tell the truth. And sometimes people like to lie to themselves and say something else, but you got to be honest with yourself. That's very important. And again, I think where the challenge comes in on that front is, a lot of people like to compare themselves to other people and be like, well, look who they are. And yeah, we're right there too. Stop comparing yourself to other people, right? I know they say comparison is the theft of joy. I don't know. I don't agree with that 100% because you do need to compare yourself to other people for certain situations and certain things that, you want to, achieve and get to. But at the end of the day, when it comes to building a business, everyone's timeline is different. So understand that. But failure is not the end. Failure means something's working. You just got to fix those things to make sure you perfect it better so things work in a much better manner, right? And that's very, very important. But, it's funny. I think back to some times, and I'm going to share a couple of them. I remember I was in our old office. I will never forget it. And I think it was a Friday. It was a Friday right before a holiday, I believe. Yeah, I think it was a holiday. I think there was a holiday coming up. It wasn't 4th of July, which it is right now. All right, regardless, whatever. It was a holiday. I was in my office and we were getting ready to wrap up the day. And I was excited because we had a big weekend planned. It was great, right? Now, understand something in business, you're going to deal with all types of emotions all the time. And this woman at the time came in my office and she said, I need to talk to you. And I knew as soon as I heard those words that she was quitting. And I will never forget the feeling I had. Now, that moment is like most moments where people, have something that so catastrophic to the business that hurts them, where they start thinking about quitting. And I remember I was supposed to leave in like, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes. I was supposed to leave and head out somewhere. I ended up running a little bit late and I stayed there and just sat there and just thought to myself, like, all right, well, like, okay, yeah, I understand this person did so much, but what's going to happen now? Like, is everything going to stop? We have franchises operating. We have things moving. And I took a deep breath, which always works. And I said, all right, we'll figure it out. And did we figure it out? Yes. And the next door that opened was 700 times better. So I'm sharing this because you might be going through a challenge like that. But you got to understand, like, business is about longevity, okay? Business is not about, you're going to be successful in a year or 2 years. It could take you 5, 10, 15 years, but you got to keep going and understand that, you're going to be tested all the time. The big thing I like to do, and I would advise you to do the same thing, is get really comfortable with your mind and playing tricks on your mind and saying things that can make you feel much better during those challenging times. I would always tell myself during those challenging times that, the person upstairs, God's testing me right now. I would say things like that. I'd be like, the questioning if I really want it, the seeing if I really want it. That's why this is so painful. That's why this is so hard. And of course I want it. Damn right I want it. I will never quit. And some things that have happened have been really bad. And I've shared some of these stories and, you go back to some of my earlier episodes, but I once owed a bank $400,000 that I did not pay for a long time. And they came after me. And, was that scary? Yeah, it was scary. Did it work out? Yeah, it worked out. Did I pay it off? I eventually ended up paying it off. No one talks about these stories. No one talks about the challenges. No one talks about it. No one talks about it when, banks are sending you letters and they're trying to come to your house to liquidate everything. No one talks about the days where, you might lose a very large client that was paying a good amount of your bills, that was covering a lot of your expenses, and you lose that client. What do? These things happen all the time. The point of this episode is to understand failure is part of it. That's what this is meant to talk to you about, to understand that you have to go through it. You have to understand, it's not the opposite of success. It is success. It's part of everything. And if you're in it right now, if you're struggling, doubting yourself, stay in it. Okay? The people who win are the people who never, ever fail. You know how many people I know who are so amazing, so smart, and just never had success because they quit. So bottom line, refuse to stay down. Fuel your drive. Let's go, baby. Have a great day. Happy 4th of July. Until next time, fuel your drive. See ya. Legend. Do you know my name? My name is Legend.